Hi everybody, thanks for joining us today again. Today is the day 5th of this bootcamp. This module has been designed to talk about blockchain games, metaverse, and DAO projects in details. Some use cases of each category will be discussed to have better understanding for all the audience. We have invited three great speakers for today's discussion. Our first speaker is Mr. Wu Xiao, who is the CEO of White Matrix and the founder of ChainIDE. He has published several research papers in top-rated conferences, including CCF Level A, and his product ChainIDE is being used in more than 160 countries, and besides it, he has been invited in many top-rated conferences to talk about blockchain. Our second speaker is Professor Sai, who is the assistant professor at Chinese University of Hong Kong. He has also published several research papers in top-rated conferences, and his research papers have been downloaded for several thousand times. His work has got much attention from all around the world. And our third speaker is Mr. Kyle. He is the CMO of Matrix Labs, and Matrix Labs is the creator of Matrix World, which is a multi-chain metaverse. Without wasting any time, I would like to invite Mr. Wu Xiao to start his speech on the topic from blockchain to metaverse. And I request all the audience, if they have any questions, they can ask at the end of his session. Thank you, Mr. Wu Xiao. You can start now.
Hello everyone, my name is Wu Xiao. I'm the CEO of White Matrix. Today my topic is From Blockchain to Metaverse. I will start with a brief self-introduction to you so you guys can know me a bit more. I'm currently the director of Yangtze River Blockchain International Innovation Center and the CEO of White Matrix. I pursued my bachelor's and master degrees at the University of Alberta from 2009 to 2015. In 2019, I collaborated with Dr. Wei Cai, and our manuscript An Interoperable Avatar framework across multiple games and blockchains was accepted to the top-ranked conference IEEE InfoComm. In 2020, I was awarded the first prize in the China Blockchain Development Contest. I also do some research in the field of blockchain, and I have been invited to give public lectures and seminars at many universities. So, last but not least, I'm also a coder. Yeah, I still write code and a Dapp designer. I've created several Dapp games, and I have extensive experience designing smart contracts. Okay, that's enough about me. Next, I will tell you some cool things about White Matrix. So White Matrix is a technology company that specializes in the research and development of blockchain middleware and global developer ecosystem. ChainIDE, which was developed by White Matrix, is a cutting-edge cloud-based blockchain integrated development environment that supports blockchain ecosystem such as Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. And White Matrix has raised 5 rounds of financing, total around $15 million from several companies, including Ant Group and HashKey. And let's talk a little bit about ChainIDE. ChainIDE enables users to quickly invoke, query, develop, and deploy the underlying blockchain system services through simpler settings and commands. As of November 2021, ChainIDE has assisted the developers in more than 185 countries, with over 8.5 million smart contract compilation services and 70 million blockchain middleware flows worldwide. As the main flow entrance, ChainIDE intends to facilitate developers to explore new territories in the world of blockchain for easier flows and more innovations. Up till now, ChainIDE supports Facebook Diem, on-chain, Ethereum physical beacons, and 10 more significant blockchain infrastructure. And yeah, we are proud of the global developer ecosystems that we have developed. we offered free 8 weeks comprehensive course on masterclass to developers across 40 countries in Africa, thus establishing a connection with the local developers and communities on the continent. The masterclass course has a view count of more than 100,000 on YouTube and has helped more than 1,000 African blockchain developers, thus incubating more than 15 blockchain projects. We co-host the BMDS 2021 webinars with the University of Alberta to explore issues relating to data science of blockchain and multimedia. Professors from University of British Columbia, University of Alberta, and the Chinese University of Hong Kong Shenzhen, and industry experts from Citibank, White Matrix, Best Buy, and Alta ML jointly held a 3-day seminar with more than 30 students' projects on display. We also present our technology and developer ecosystem to G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance. We have also made many connections with thousands of smart contracts designers in Indonesia and Singapore. We continuously exert ourselves at building up a worldwide blockchain developer ecosystems with the belief that the developers will bring out countless innovations and practical applications to this industry. Next, I want to talk about NFTs and Metaverse today. The cute kitties you see now are called Cryptokitties. Wait a minute. I think there's some noise. I'm not sure where it comes from. Okay, never mind. The cute kitties you see now are called Cryptokitties. This was the first step in the world that allowed people to have a cat on the blockchain. The technology behind this cat is called ERC 721. It is a standard for creating and trading NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Sorry, okay. Cryptokitties was widely successful, and after that, NFTs boomed in the world. And there's one sentence I should say, big names are hyped about NFTs. So one recent example is the Olympics NFT made by Nway and Flow, which is the official NFT collections for Tokyo 2020. IOC published the Olympics Heritage Collections NFT in 2021 on June 17th. The main theme is traditional Olympics arts and design. They are split into common, real, epic, legendary 4 levels and different prices, I think. I also go there and buy. I try to use USDC and Visa to buy these NFTs. And all of these NFTs are sold out within 24 hours, I think, at the first pre-sale. Yeah. We also have seen TikTok publish an NFT announcement in the New York Times. Facebook changed its name to Meta and become a Metaverse company. Microsoft said all tech companies will get into Metaverse and show the world their Metaverse project Mesh. There are too many cases, and I will use the rest of time try to answer 3 questions. The first one is, why do we need the Metaverse? So to answer this question, I first want to introduce what the Metaverse is. Metaverse was coined in Neil Stephenson's 1992 science fiction novel, Snow Crash, where humans as avatars interact with each other and software agents in a 3D dimension virtual space that use the metaphor of the real world. The novel is really interesting, but it is very thick and take time to finish reading. The 2018 film Ready Player One is a great visual interpretation of the metaverse. So why do we need the metaverse? Let's think deeper about this question. It is a well-known fact that the resources on Earth are limited. Many of our precedents have tried to find new market in the past 100 years. If not, there are cruel battles and conflicts for the innovate market. I think now there are a word called involution is very popular online. I mean, there are a lot of involved market. They have cruel battles and conflicts and even wars in both business side and political sides. Yeah. Now I want to explain here. In the age of exploration, the European seafarers tried to convince the king to give them money so they could build ships and explore the sea. They also have brought some rumors such as the city of gold. If they can find the city of gold, all the European people will be wealthy. I think this is one way they try to find a new market. Of course, we know they didn't find the city of gold, yeah. But they did find a new market in the end. New trading routes were established and many new opportunities arose. Many people my age may have played a game called Uncharted Waters. The game is set in the age of explorations. Now the story also continues. I mean, we see the SpaceX and the exploration of the space. The goal is kind of similar. If we can find a new terrestrial planet, then all of the people on the Earth will be kind of happy. So some friends may agree with this point. They say, okay, I agree with your point, but why most people are happy in the past decades? We feel global recessions when coronavirus happened, but before that, everything seems cool. This is because of the internet boom we have had in the past decades. We have seen a lot of big names come out of the boom, such as Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. Now, these big companies have access to the international market and they provide services worldwide. This is also a brand new market, and most international companies boomed in the last few decades. And nowadays, many internet companies also feel anxiety and looking for have a new area. This is because the internet services have already connected everywhere, which means there will be battles for the involute market again nowadays. So if we want to create an everlasting new market, what will we do? So as I written in this PPT, from limited to unlimited, we need a paradigm shift. To move from a limited market to an unlimited market, this is where the Metaverse come in, I think. Yeah, the Metaverse can create unlimited experience with really low marginal cost, which is code. If we can create a Metaverse, it can provide billions of people with knowledge, opportunities to collaborate, entertainment, and the real world will only need to generate electricity. This will create an incremental market because we can create everything with code in the Metaverse. In the recent years, there haven't been any significant technical breakthrough, and the world is unstable again. We see tense situations between countries and a turbulent world economy. This implies that we are in a global recession now. We really need to build the Metaverse to create an incremental market. And in the Metaverse, code is kind of miracles with endless possibilities. The second question will be, why does the Metaverse need blockchain? So for the blockchain, I still agree with the Economist published the article named The Promise of the Blockchain in 2015, I think, 2015. It tells about the operating logic behind Bitcoin and blockchain and what roles this trust machine can play in the future. I agree with this article, and we will start from this point. Now, there are two kinds of metaverse in the world. So we all agree that we need to build the metaverse. But the key question is, which type of the metaverse do we want to build? The first one is just like Tencent proposed. It is a lifelike virtual reality on the internet. I think most big companies want to build this type of metaverse. This kind of metaverse is immersive and lifelike, but it is still controlled by the big names. There's one example I can use to explain this point. No matter how realistic this kind of metaverse is building, you probably cannot play the games from their competitors in this metaverse. This is just a closed system. If you want to use another application from another companies, you need to log out and use another platforms. And the other kind of metaverse is a blockchain-driven metaverse. In the blockchain industry, everyone is connected. There is a distributed ledger that contains all of your cryptocurrency transaction data. There are smart contracts that have Turing-complete logic and store your game assets such as NFTs. All dApps can get in and know your information about your NFTs, and your equipment can be used in multiple games and applications. This is a huge difference. A blockchain-driven metaverse is open, interoperable, and connected. The third question will be how we build the metaverse. Here I propose 3 elements to get the genesis of the metaverse. The first element is perception layer. So the perception is a layer we perceive the metaverse. There are a lot of opportunities in this area, such as VR, AR, MR, game engine, ray tracing algorithms, rendering algorithms, and brain-computer interface, and etc. There are a lot of things and opportunities in this kind of layer. And the second one is regulation. This is the layer that blockchain should jump in. In this open, connected metaverse, all the main rules should be transparent and auto-executed. If there is no blockchain involved, we can only build isolated world with closed ecosystems. I mean, blockchain means Web 3.0, means open source native, means connected. Every code on the blockchain may be written in Solidity and Cadence. Everything is open, and you can see every sources of the code. This is beautiful. And for the third part, mass production, I always think the mass production should be, I think the mass production should be 5G, 6G, IoT, edge computing for something. Now I really believe the mass production should be UGCs and AIGCs. In the future, AI will help us generate fantastic metaverse, and we can learn, we can create, and we can enjoy the endless world in the metaverse. Next, I want to show you some metaverse projects nowadays. We go back and we see, we have TikTok publish an NFT announcement in the New York Times. This one is really interesting because we know TikTok is really big names, and they try to act like an internet company, but why they try to decentralize themselves? I think this is related to some punishment from the US government, and they also want to try to use NFTs to connect it more creators and the YouTubers, I think. And we also have Meta, and we have Nash. And behind TikTok, they try to build the NFT systems. We have Immutable X. So this one is very interesting. I think in the future, many blockchain projects and blockchain teams will collaborate with some centralized big names such as TikTok. This is the first case I want to show you, is the collaboration between TikTok and Immutable X. The second one is Metaverse Seoul. I mean, this is a really centralized cities, and they love Metaverse. They want to build the realistic Metaverse. But in this case, they didn't have the blockchain-driven Metaverse at first. I mean, at present, they didn't have the blockchain-driven Metaverse. But what they want to provide is a Metaverse social services, such as Metaverse journey and Metaverse city views, education, and something about that. And this one is one approach from the centralized world, try to build the Metaverse and show their city to the world. And the next example is really interesting. This one is kind of city DAO. We all know Miami try to issue their Miami tokens, and all the citizens in Miami will get the profit from the proof of work of Bitcoins because they try to get the Bitcoins, mint the Bitcoins as a city site. And they will have their tokens, and on this news, in this news, you will see the mayor of Miami try to explain what they are doing and explain all the things to their citizens, that we will go to generate more Bitcoins and we will share that with all of you, and you will have your tax returns, you will have your education, and even your medical healthcare with blockchains and USDCs and US dollars. The next case will be Flow at NBA Top Shot. So Flow is a company that they build Cryptokitties.
Recording stopped.
As I mentioned, this is the first step in the world. After that, they built several interesting dApps such as Cheese Wizard and also NBA Top Shot. Nowadays, if you are a fan of NBA, you can try to get the NBA Top Shot NFTs on Flow's ecosystems. And lots of NBA superstars, they also try to sell the NFTs to their fans. And I think the revenue is really good. They generated about 100 million US dollars in 1 month when everyone are hyped about the NFTs. The next example I want to show you is some blockchain-driven metaverse. So for Sandbox, for Decentraland, for CryptoVoxels, they are kind of the blockchain-driven metaverse. All their NFTs, I mean, their lands, they are a kind of a beacon on the blockchain. And usually, I think most of them, I mean, all of them, they are written in Solidity, and their NFT lands, they are kind of ERC 721, exactly the same standard with Cryptokitties, as I mentioned. And these are some metaverse projects that has already come out. And also we have some new blockchain metaverse projects boomed this year. For example, Matrix World. It is also our best friends, and in our ecosystems, we try to help them to build their Turing complete metaverse, and everyone there can code and they can connect their dApps in different ecosystems, such as the developers in Flow can try to interact with Ethereum's dApps, and also the friends in Ethereum's ecosystem can try to buy NFTs from Flow side. What they use is the middleware technology. They can interact with different blockchains. And also we see some Blocktopia is very popular recently. We see some 3D immersive blockchain-driven metaverse boom this year. And these are some cases, and I just want to try to give you a general idea about the metaverse, because I know the following instructors, they are more professional than me, and they will give you much more details about the metaverse. And here is my topic today. Thank you very much. Hello. Hi, everyone. So if you have questions, please type in and I can answer.
Great speech. And I really enjoyed your speech. And I believe the audience also enjoyed it much and have much to learn from it. So now we have questions and answer session. So let me see if we have some questions. Yeah, here we have one question. The question is, now blockchain or crypto seems like double-sided knife. On the one hand, it went so popular, and on the other hand, many government banned this and make it quite unstable. Can you please help me understand, and all the other audience having the same questions, why is this happening and what you think is the future of the metaverse and cryptocurrencies, and what is the solution to this?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. I mean, nowadays we see a lot of Web2 companies and Web2 services. They really have a good performance. They have quite high TPS, and they can show a lot of high quality images and games. For now, I think the Web3 is more likely for the important currency and for the important NFTs, we need to let them on the Ethereum. We need to let them on the Binance Smart Chains, and we need to let them on the different Web3 infrastructures. That is why we need some important currencies and important resources on the blockchain. And for that, we can let the user get their rights, get their data rights, and get their authenticate and let the user control their own data. This is very important because for the Web2 companies, no matter YouTube or no matter Facebook's, they will control your account and also they will help you do many things. They may upgrade their services with you. You can only click the right button. But for the Web3 companies, for something like OpenSea, Looksreal, and many other marketplaces, they can only ask for your permissions to give them authority to get your data. And the NFTs and the cryptocurrencies you own, that is yourselves. And this one is totally different from normal Web2 companies. So for all the Web3 services, they can only ask permissions from you. You are the center of the world, and everyone need ask permission from you, and then you can give them some authority, and thus they can provide some services, they can provide some games, they can provide some videos to you. I mean, this is a totally different things because with the grow up of the Web3, we think the TPS with the consensus algorithms and many other stuff can be built faster and faster, and the whole systems will be robust. But the infrastructure, I mean, the basic elements and the basic ideas are totally different from Web 2 and Web 3. I think this is a kind of the biggest difference. Yeah.
Thank you so much for very clear answer. And here we have one more question. The threshold of the blockchain games is higher than the normal games. That seems not friendly to common players, like some are not like very rich. They cannot pay for the like minting price about zero point 0.2 ETH, and like they can play some simple games even much cheaper within much cheaper price than the blockchain based games. So what do you think the price will go down in the future, and what do you think, what are the rules behind setting these price? I would like to have your thoughts on this.
Yeah, of course. I think this is also a good question. For now, many Web 2 games, they are free and you can play it. And for Web 3, because we need to have some gas fees, because we need to let all at least the key logic running on the blockchain. And that is why we need some gas and we need some basic BNB or some other gas fees. But I think in the future, for the normal players, maybe they can just play it for free. And in the future, everything will also be cheap and
Okay.
simple. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
also hope more and more player can enjoy the Web3 uh,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
future.
yeah, of course. I think, and also we see many other guilds like YGG. They also try to provide the basic NFTs for the players. They can lend it to the players, and the players can just play it and play some
Oh,
play to earn, and also they can earn their own money. So I think in
okay.
the future, more guilds will also coming out and help the normal players and try to play the whole games for free or cheaper. And yeah, I believe that is it. And I also think the other way why now the blockchain games is kind of expensive is also because the supportive from the Web3 community. For now, we all know the Web3, the blockchain is not that good, it's not that fantastic and it's not that
Yeah,
perfect now. And
yeah,
the community still want to support the blockchain community. The community still want to show their minds to stand with them. So they try to buy the NFTs and bring them and send them money and hope in the future the team will build a better games and
yeah,
also with blockchain as an infrastructure. And that is why I think now some blockchain games, they are not that good, but they still get a really good outcomes. And that is my
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. I also hope there will be many, much more interesting games in the future. And
Mm.
these were all the questions we have from you, Mr. Usha. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time and have a nice day.
Fine.
So now I would like to invite Mr. YSI, who is the Associate Professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Shenzhen campus, and he will be talking about blockchain games and metaverse. And without wasting time, so let's invite Mr. Y. Mr. Y, you can start your speech now.
Hello everyone, this is Wei speaking. I'm an assistant professor from the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen. I'm working in School of Science and Engineering, and my research is all about Metaverse and Web3 and blockchain. So the topic today for me to share is blockchain games and GameFi. This is the outline of my talk. First of all, I'll briefly introduce what is blockchain games and what is GameFi. And then I will discuss one case regarding AC Infinity. After that, I'll discuss the dilemma of GameFi, and based on that, I will envision the future of blockchain games and GameFi. First of all, let's define blockchain games. Blockchain games nowadays are also known as Web3 games, NFT games, or crypto games. We can define blockchain games as a series of digital games designed and implemented based on the nature of blockchain technologies. Blockchain elements in these games are most often based on the use of cryptocurrency and non-fungible tokens. That will be the NFTs. So that the players can buy and sell digital assets, while the game publisher will taking a fee from each transaction as a form of monetization. Technically, traditional games of all genres could be redesigned as blockchain games, but in general, they can be divided into 3 levels. The first level is to use blockchain to game coins or tokens. The second level related to game props and roles, so that we are able to use NFT to create different characters. And the third level, the game rules will be coded into the smart contract, so all the rules are immutable and transparent. The final form for blockchain games can fulfill the ultimate dream of many game players. The items they own in the virtual world are non-fungible, exchangeable, inheritable, and independent to the game service provider. So what is GameFi? Apparently, the term of GameFi is inspired by DeFi, the decentralized finance. Of course, it is a bit different here. GameFi is a blend of game and finance. So what exactly is connecting game to finance? Before introducing the detailed definition, I want to review the knowledge of game and in-game economics. So I'd like to borrow the fundamentals of game design, a very famous book's definition regarding the core mechanics of games. There are 4 core mechanics of games. One will be the physics, one will be the internal economy, another one will be the progression mechanisms, tactical maneuvering, and social interactions. And today, of course, we're talking about the internal economy. Usually, in the industry, we will say it is in-game economy. So what is in-game economy? It's regarding the resource and entity production, consumption, exchange in quantifiable amounts. So it's all about how we're going to manipulate the resource, how to create the resource, how we remove the resource, how we exchange the resource. That will be the traditional definition of in-game economy. And today, we are now discussing a new era of game developments, which will be the Web3 games. what will be the feature of Web3 games? We use blockchain, we have tokens, we have DeFi, we have non-fungible tokens, we have play-to-earn models, we have DAO, we have decentralized exchange. We have lots of tools to help us to facilitate a transparent and decentralized gaming paradigm. So here, when you connect the in-game economy with Web3 games, we realize that the economy inside the game is no longer inside the game. It is outside the game, connected to the real economy. So here, when we connect the in-game economy with Web3 games, we have our definition on GameFi. So, what is GameFi? GameFi is gamified ecosystem that draw global economy into crypto community and redistributed access through play-to-earn or other Web3 game derivatives. This is our definition on GameFi. So this is another figure showing the cycle of the GameFi. As a player, you will need to enter the virtual world by using a virtual identity. You can use the virtual identity to explore the game, to conquer the challenges, and of course, you will be rewarded by the NFTs or the tokens. So this is the activities in the virtual world. These activities will be marked as brown rectangles in this figure. Of course, after you earn those NFTs and these tokens, you can use exchange, either centralized or decentralized ones, to exchange those tokens, those rewards to fiat. After you receive the fiat, you can use them to purchase anything you want in the real world, including the food. So as you can see, GameFi creates a complete cycle between the virtual world and the reality. You will bridge the virtual world and the reality to facilitate global economic circulation. In 2021, GameFi's peak transaction volume was concentrated in early August and November. Transaction peaked at around 220 million. Users peaked in January of this year, reaching 1.5 million. Notably, more than 90% of this data relies on AC Infinity. Other top-ranked games include Alien Worlds, Sorora, Aurora, Gods Unchained, and Cryptokitties. So what is AC Infinity? It is a Pokemon-inspired universe, of course, where the Pokemons are replaced by the new creature called Aces. As a player, you can buy or breed Aces to participate in all kinds of battles to win the rewards. Of course, the price of the AC become quite expensive, after the game become popular. So some players cannot even afford them. That's why YGG is formed. With YGG, the player can borrow Aces to start rather than buying them. So regarding the GameFi systems, AC Infinity adopts two token economic approach. The first token is called Smooth Love Potion SLP. It is a utility token. You can earn SLP by doing daily tasks, by completing PvE or PvP. So what do you mean by utility token here? It means that you need to burn the token so that you're able to breed the Aces. Of course, the LSP token is tradable. That is the meaning of play to earn, right? You need to convert the SLP to fiat tokens so that you're able to cash out and buy things in real world. Another token is called AC Infinity Shard, AXS. It is a governance token. The governance token means you can vote on the future direction of the game. You can vote on change of the rules, whatever. So you can earn the AXS by tournaments or by staking your tokens so that you can earn by doing stakings. So the AXS is a community fee to breed aces. So you're trying to breed aces, you also need to pay the community fee. But this community fee will not be burned. Instead, it will be sent to the community treasure, and this treasure will be used in, you will providing those monies to future stakings and or to reward the users. The AXS is also tradable, so you can make profit out of it as well. You might have a question why they use two tokens. Intuitively, we can use one token to rule them all, right? In fact, one single token is also an approach to create a GameFi system. In that case, you will use only one currency token for in-game economy and governance. The advantage is that the thing is simple, right? Simplicity is good. However, there are also the disadvantages. It's easy to be manipulated by the secondary market. And of course, if you're using one single token, it tends to result in inflation. So most of the games, in fact, will choose multiple token approach. So we will need to separate the in-game currency and governance tokens. The advantage are, first of all, you reduce the influence of the secondary market and will also increase the scalability of in-game economic systems. For example, in AC Infinity, they keep adjusting the AXS amount required in breeding and adjusting the SLP reward amount in PvE to make the ecosystem stable. So what we learned from the AC Infinity case, this is a figure illustrating how player involves in different organizations and gaming process. As you can see, the player can do play to earn by playing the games, while they can do stake to earn by staking the tokens to the treasury. Also, he can collaborate with the DAO so that he can improve the efficiency of earning. And eventually, of course, he will need to interact with the secondary market so that he can monetize the tokens he earned. However, GameFi is experiencing a winter. The reason is because of the mainstream concept of GameFi, P2E, play to earn. The Web 2.0 also have play to earn model. Players exchange the resource they earn in a game for other virtual or real-world resources through official, third-party, or C2C means. When we take P2E as a system of value to create a GameFi in Web3, the result is no game and no fi, unfortunately. The game is boring and the fi part is just having to struggle for life as in Web 2 and the real world. The essential of fi should be discovering the value. This kind of simple and dull work is not a real fi. The solution to the dilemma is to change the mindsets from P2E to PNE. I also think this will be the future of blockchain games and GameFi. From the left-hand side, you can see in Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, people playing games is about the consumption related to upper needs. Boring things are not real games. Fortunately, we have seen a group of blockchain games started to be a better gameplay. And as you can see from the right-hand side, for the part of phi, I think it should be based on the only scarcities, resources, attention to establish the value discovery systems. Specifically, there are three means. First one, through the user-generated content, then more people become creators who directly transform the consumption of attention into value. The second one, investing in guilds that then become attention agents for users. The third one, constructing multi-game join ecologies to meet the demand for attention diversity. In these three processes, we will see the presence of NFTs and DAOs. At the same time, these three channels could be introduced ordinary users into the metaverse and bring additional value. Only such a system could be called phi that finds the value. In the following slides, I will better elaborate better gameplay and better phi. For better gameplay, let's talk about the Thetan Arena. It is so-called the League of Legends on blockchain. It has over 18 million players, nearly 360,000 Twitter followers, and 320,000 Discord community members. Similar to AC Infinity, it also adopts two-token economic system. It has various of gameplays, support PC, Android, and iOS. You can play for free, and each session of the game is about 3 to 5 minutes. This game has a professional production team and has strong investors. And there are more. For example, like Illuminum is established on Immutable X, which is excellent graphics and senior game developers in the team. Seduce Heroes has detailed picture quality, rich game content, and complete storyline. It is also only AAA blockchain game that provides a demo. Titan Hunters is very similar to a Web2 game, the Soul Knight, in the gameplay and the picture. As you can see, there are more and more blockchain games as a not back in play. So how can we create a sustainable GameFi ecosystem? We don't know yet, but sandbox games might be a way out. Why? Well, in these sandbox games, we have creators then generating values to the virtual world, so the GameFi players, they can consume the contents rather than only looking for opportunities in making money. In that case, there might be a sustainable and healthy system. Another solution for better phi is guild phi. There are famous guilds like YGG, MC, GF, AVG, and here I'd like to discuss a new one, AAG. The biggest difference between AAG and other guilds is that the gold-playing guild is only one part of its business line. There are more. First, AAG is a platform for friendly cooperation between players, investors, AAG, and other guilds. Its features include a game library, NFT markets, revenue, and dashboard. Second, the AAG Guild currently has more than 2,000 scholars in 7 countries, and players receive the majority of the revenue. Players can convert any token earned in the game into AAG tokens and have a one-step withdrawal. Third, the L2E platform enhances employabilities for players who can earn tokens by taking courses. Those courses include basic allocation, finance, information science, civic health, and social welfare. This line is sponsored by the government, corporators, and NGOs. The fourth one, AAG, also has a non-profit charitable foundation to create more social good. For those who don't have enough energy to get to know what is a GameFi, it might be wiser to invest in those quality guilds and choose them to be the agents. The last direction for better fi might be the multi-game ecology. The mechanism and gameplay of blockchain games are developing rapidly. One game and its economic system may encounter slowdown growth of users, lack of novelty, and revenue decline. Additionally, players can only use their avatar and equipment in one game, and that is definitely not the spirit of Metaverse. Therefore, the multi-game ecology is worth of attention. Gala games, NFT, and tokens are all based on Ethereum, and each game's internal transactions rely on its own network. This mechanism keeps all the games fluid while ensures security. Games on Gala receive positive feedback so far, which support their token price. However, there are limited relationships among different games, which means the tokens are only acting as a medium of exchange among different game worlds. In summary, games need the blockchain, which can bring new kind of ownership relationships. Meanwhile, the blockchain and even the metaverse also need games. Games are most likely the channel for ordinary players to enter the field. However, the concept of P2E, which take away the nature of games and neglect the discovery of the real values in the metaverse, ultimately make the whole industry atrophy. But everything is still in the early stages, and we have reasons to believe that after recognizing the significance of PNE, GameFi can become the industry trigger again in blockchain games will usher in explosive growth. Thanks for listening. That's all my talk today. Recently, our team is looking for suitable GameFi modules for Web3 games. If you're interested in this topic, please visit our lab website or follow me at Twitter or even join our lab Discord. We will share our latest research outcome there. This talk was partially prepared by Tavalish.eth. You can also find him in Twitter as well.
Thank you so much, Professor Sai, for your great talk and for your time. Your talk was really interesting and I enjoyed it much. I hope the other audience also enjoyed it. And there is much new to learn from your speech.
Thank
And
you.
now we will see if the audience have some questions. So here we have one question. There is an NFT heat recently, and there are so many NFT projects coming up every day, making investors busy about informations and requirements. Like every project has much requirements, it's very hard to catch up all the projects. And I see you are an NFT lover and investor also. And I would like to have your suggestions about NFT investment. Like what suggestion you give to all the audience, like how they should choose the project, and extended to this question, after crypto market, NFT, metaverse, what do you think? What is next to it? What is the next heat? So I would like to have your ideas about these.
Okay. This is a very tough question. Actually, it's difficult to say how we're gonna invest on NFTs. Well, personally, I have a principle. My principle is that if you want to purchase an NFT, okay, just like you want to buy a house or apartment, you want to buy at the price that you want to hold. What do you mean by that? Okay, I mean there are lots of speculations. Lots of people purchase NFT because they thought they are
Exactly.
potential, right? Especially short-term
Yeah,
potential. So when they purchase NFT, they're looking for a short-term return so that they can easily flip and make money out of it. Okay, if there are lots of speculation there, then definitely there won't be a healthy ecosystem. Okay, it won't be a healthy market. So personally, when I purchase an NFT, I always actually you can check my ETH address. You realize that I always hold.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't sell very often. I will
yeah.
actually feel like this is a long term plan and it's a long term investment. I will check their team to see if the holders for this community is good. Okay, first of all, I will check their society, having the quality of the society members, and the ability for them to implement their roadmap. Yeah. So personally, I'm not a speculator. I'm more like a long term investor. Yeah. So to be honest, uh, it could be difficult to invest on NFT. I mean, um, the NFT market is way more difficult than crypto markets. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the each NFT they are unique, right? So it's difficult to sell when you purchase. After you purchase, it's really hard to sell. It's different from cryptocurrency. So
Yeah.
um, if you're looking for short term speculation, probably now NFT project is no longer a good investment direction already. Yeah, yeah, that would be
Okay.
my view. Yeah, and for the next wave, well, I'm looking for research in blockchain games and GameFi because I think that will be the next step. Actually, NFT is the starting point of the GameFi because cryptocurrency is more like tokens in the game world, while the
Yeah.
NFTs will be, as I mentioned in the talk, right, the props and the avatar, the items in the game world. So once we have the cryptocurrency and NFTs ready, we're able to build up a game world, a complete game world. So you need to take a look at a team. Yeah. If the team has strong ability to implement the game and that will be better. Yeah, that would be much better. Yeah. So that would be my
Thank
view.
you so much. The answer is very clear now.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, I will see if we have some more questions. Yeah, here we have one more question. Like the Facebook changed its name to Meta, but later people uh, seems don't look up on Meta now. The price of Facebook went so down recently.
Mhm.
How you understand the changing name act and what will you say about this?
Actually, I delivered a number of talks before, and I
Yeah,
always start from this example. I mean, Facebook changed their name to Meta, but the next slide I will talk about. Um, in my opinion, okay, Facebook changed the name to Meta, but they are pretty far away from Metaverse communities.
yeah, indeed.
I mean,
Indeed, that is one of the reasons I think the people didn't look up for Facebook now.
but unfortunately, crypto community is still very small. I mean, the public, right? They probably have no idea regarding Ethereum. They have no idea regarding the blockchain and decentralization, Web3, those concepts. They know
Yeah,
Facebook, okay, because it's an old company and lots of users. So probably, well, the positive side is that with this move, I mean, Facebook changed the meta. More and more people started to know about metaverse, and eventually they will know about crypto and they will know about the community behind it. I In past 3 months I have been invited to more than 20 talks
yeah,
and
I see, I
panels.
see. We have watched some of your talks and I have followed you on Twitter also, and it's really
Yeah.
interesting to see
So
your
it's
research.
a very good opportunity to tell people what's going on with metaverse. Yeah. So
Yeah, sure.
I always start from the story starting to from 2017. I mean the article, right? The VR is the killer applications for blockchain, and then talking about the Decentraland, talking about the crypto voxel and sandbox.
Yeah.
Those are real metaverse I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, I have personally studied your research papers also. Those are really great. And I see that the download numbers is also very great. And I think it has got much attention from all around the world. And
Yeah. There are more
yeah,
people. There are more and more people in academia started to realize metaverse and crypto is a good opportunity to do research. So I believe
yeah, and
yeah,
yeah.
there will be more materials coming up.
Yeah, and I see there are not many researchers working on this. I think there are like very few number of researchers in this area.
Yeah, one of the reason is, most of the universities will rely on government's funding. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fortunately, I don't think any government will provide lots of fundings to support cryptocurrency research and also NFTs. So for example, our lab have a lot of funding from the government as well, but we also have report from support from the investment companies and development companies. Otherwise, we cannot do research in this area. It's difficult, yeah, because eventually, the faculty members will be evaluated by their funding as well, and the university will be evaluated by the government as well. Some partially evaluated by them because of the funding support. So I believe in the future, if this market become bigger and bigger, and there are more fundings available in this area, there might be more researchers in this area. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And what do you think, Professor, about governments regarding cryptocurrencies and metaverse? Do you think in the future more and more governments will adopt it, or it will be like same?
Yeah,
What are
I'm
your ideas
positive.
of it?
I'm positive in this direction because a universal acceptable cryptocurrency. I think this is a need for many governments. Yeah, and as long as we have some governments supporting cryptocurrency, uh, it's really hard to block it. Yeah, and especially
Yeah,
now,
it's really, really
yeah,
not.
we're experiencing the inflation, right? And more and more people in Western countries, especially Western countries, they started to to think about why we need to use a inflated money or something, right? We're not able to control, right? So these are the motions. Anti-monopolies, a lot of things around in the world. So there might be more and more opportunities in this direction. Yeah.
Okay. And Professor, I saw your group is recruiting talented crypto natives or video games enthusiasts,
Mhm.
and they can apply for MS or PhD, and the
Yes.
applications are still open, right?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
always open. Actually, we keep recruiting students because we have PhD graduate this year. So we will still have opening. Actually, this year I already, I'm not sure if you know, I post a recruitment posting in Twitter, and
yeah,
I
I
received
saw
a
you.
lot of
Yeah,
applicants. Yeah, I received lots of applications this year. Yes, I do interview them, and I have a number of good applicants going through the application procedure in the university. So hopefully we can have two more PhD student and two more MPhil student this year. Yeah, in crypto.
yeah, Professor, I would like to ask what are the like main requirements from the users, what they should be good at. Yeah, I would like to a little more about that.
Okay, so
If someone is
usually the
interested in
university
that.
will require you have the background in computer science or engineering. Of course, related subjects will be fine as well. For example, like mathematics, statistic will be fine as well. Yeah, and what I'm looking for is recently is rich experience in crypto, especially have good understanding in crypto related metaverse, because this is why I believe, I mean, in the future we will have a parallel virtual world, and we do have lots of direction to explore, for example, like DeFi, GameFi, and also human computer interactions, and how you're going to generate the content in the virtual world, how you're going to connect the people, and how people behave in this decentralized community. There are lots of research opportunities there. Yeah, so yeah, I don't have a specific a requirement for students, but what I'm looking for first, I think the first criterion is that, well, I want to make sure that he's really uh, got into it. He really loved this research direction. Yeah.
Okay, Professor, thank you so much for your time. And I suggest all the audience to follow Mr. Sai on Twitter. And if they are interested in these jobs, they can apply there. Thank you so much, Professor, for your time.
Thank you very much.
So now we would like to invite Mr. Kyle. He is the CMO of Matrix Labs. And Matrix Lab is the creator of Matrix World, which is a multi-chain blockchain. So, Mr. Kyle, you may start now.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to start by saying thank you to BNB Chain and ChainIDE for hosting this bootcamp. And thank you for everyone who's attending today. I hope you're all enjoying these lectures. So my topic is Matrix World. I'm going to give an overview, talk a little bit about what we have in mind for the future, and maybe go through some FAQ at the end. Matrix World is a multi-chain metaverse, and it is programmable. But before we jump into that, I want to introduce myself and give you guys a little background. My name is Kyle, and I am the CMO of Matrix Labs. Matrix Labs is the team of developers behind Matrix World. I want to start off by talking about my path with crypto and how I got involved, so you understand where I'm coming from. I first found out about crypto in 2011. Back then, I was big into gaming, a lot of MMORPGs. This will be important a little later on. But because of that, I had an extra gaming computer sitting in my house. I heard about this thing called Bitcoin and that you can use your GPU to make some extra money. Long story short, I spent a day researching and thought it sounded like a lot of work for a few extra dollars a month, so I didn't end up mining or setting it up. Instead, my journey with crypto really started in 2013. That's when I began to actively buy and trade Bitcoin, and I've been following the space ever since. Going back to my gaming background, I think this also factors in when you're considering metaverses and NFTs. As I said, I liked to play MMORPGs, and these are very similar to a metaverse. It's a very expansive and open digital world, and they have their own virtual economies as well. So when I first saw NFTs coming onto the scene, I could immediately understand how a digital asset, pixels, data, ones and zeros, how this could have real world value. And some of the dynamics to these marketplaces that would exist. Many people have referenced this in the NFT space, but the auction house in World of Warcraft is really a great example of the psychology people have when trading, buying, selling, undercutting floors for certain digital assets, and where scarcity comes into play for these things. One more thing I want to think about before we dive in. I want to think about the concept of an ideal metaverse. What is that? What does everybody mean when they talk about this metaverse? Now, definitions may change from person to person, and of course there are different types of metaverses, so to speak. When we speak of the metaverse, we're talking about an open virtual world where people can have a digital existence. Okay? Let's think of the ideal, the core of that concept. What do people want? Well, an ideal metaverse would be decentralized. It would give users the power to own things in that world, and it would be highly interoperable. Ideally, you could connect with anything in the digital world, anything on the internet, anything related to blockchain. So that's our ideal metaverse, right? Highly interoperable, allows you to connect to anything in the digital world, allows you to own and trade, and it isn't centralized. It isn't controlled by one entity such as Meta, right? Now we can jump in. Let's talk about Matrix World and where this fits into that picture. Our vision revolves around creating a metaverse that is creator-friendly, that offers an immersive experience, and that helps to improve the social experience as well. To do that, we want to create a Turing-complete multi-chain metaverse that provides users with this higher level experience and more customization. Today, we're going to go over some of these key features in Matrix World and how they help us move one step closer to creating an ideal metaverse. Some of the features we will go over: the multi-chain connectivity, the immersive dApps, decentralized applications, programmable NFTs and objects, as well as the systems behind that and their high-level architecture. Some of the convenient and automated tooling we want to incorporate to improve the creator experience, and a few other smaller features, but it's still important, right? The space name server, and we won't forget that this is going to be a decentralized metaverse as well. We're going to start with multi-chain connectivity. In my mind, I think this is one of the key factors that differentiates Matrix World from a lot of the metaverses that exist today. With the multi-chain connectivity, users can experience a world with unlimited possibilities by connecting to these multi-chain applications, external services, and some other resources. This is tackling one of the biggest problems we see in the current stage of metaverse evolution: single chain fragmentation. If we look at most of the major players today, they are single chain metaverses: Decentraland, Sandbox, CryptoVoxels, the list goes on. We'll focus on these for now. Single chain creates a problem. It fragments the ecosystems, it fragments the markets. This really hurts not only the creators, but also the users. Creators have access to a smaller group of people, the capital, the money, right? It's all split up. And at the same time, users have access to less experiences, less applications. It just ruins the user experience. But this is the current state we're in, and this is an improvement. So let's go back to that idea of the ideal metaverse. We said the first inception of the metaverse revolved around gaming, such as MMORPGs or games like Second Life. These games featured many of the things we consider when talking about a metaverse. There's this digital world, users interact and have social connections there. Many of them have virtual economies as well, and digital items, digital assets. But this is far from ideal because these were very centralized. All of the data, all of the items, everything was controlled by the creator of the game. Users couldn't actually own anything. If the creator decided to shut down the game or ban them, a user would lose all of the items they had. They could never take it out of that metaverse or digital world. Now think about this. You're a user, maybe you spent hundreds of hours trying to earn that item in the game or saving up for something, and just like that, it's gone. That's not what we want. So the next step in the evolution of these metaverses was blockchain tech. So these single chain metaverses are a huge step forward. They allow that ownership. They allow that decentralization that was really needed in the metaverse to empower the users and to allow individual creators outside of these centralized owners. But it's still far from what we want in our ideal metaverse. You're still bounded by one network, one chain. It's not truly interoperable. You can't access a lot of different experiences. So the next natural step in this progression would be to expand that, to move to a multi-chain metaverse. The multi-chain metaverse increases the interoperability. It allows users to access more of the digital world from one place. Looking at the Matrix World multi-chain system, we have a few main things to consider. One is how we manage identity when we're working on multiple networks and multiple chains. One wallet address is not going to work because we use different wallets and different addresses on these different networks. To solve this problem, we are building a multi-chain identity system which will manage a user's different on-chain identities through one in-world identity. So you will have your character, your avatar in Matrix World, and this will be connected to many different wallets that can access these different chains. We want the experience to be immersive, as we said earlier. To do that, all of this is going to go on behind the scenes. So when you're interacting with different things, it won't really matter what network they're on. This multi-chain identity system is going to pick the correct wallet for the matching network to connect with that contract or service. Let's talk about those as well now. We've got external contracts and external services. External smart contracts and applications will be accessible, and now you won't just be limited to a single chain. You won't be limited to just the Ethereum network. So we're removing some of those limitations that are created by these single chain metaverses. On top of that, users will also be able to access some external services like NFT marketplaces, other applications, storage protocols, even streaming services, maybe such as YouTube. And this whole system is designed to be extensible. Right now we support Flow and Ethereum, but in the future we hope to add many more chains to this metaverse to again approach that concept of an ideal metaverse. This tackles some of the problems, right? But it doesn't tackle all of it. We also want that immersive experience. In many metaverses today, you leave the metaverse and go to a website when you're interacting with something. We want to change that. So we want this to be a metaverse where you can build immersive 3D applications. This will create a rich and interesting and immersive world for users, and it'll also empower the creators. But how can we make that happen? We need to be able to program within the world. So we are going to have programmable and NFTs and objects. This is how we'll be able to make these applications. All of these in-game objects and NFTs have their own life cycles. You can customize that, their behavior, their appearance, their interactivity via Turing-complete programs. And we're going to look into the system that this is all based on, some of the high-level architecture of it. So it all starts with something we call the space virtual machine. This is a virtual machine that will power and run these different decentralized applications in the world. Each land will be allocated a certain amount of compute resources and memory based on the size of the land. You'll also be able to merge adjacent lands and combine their compute resources to build more complex applications. Let's start from the bottom here. We'll start with the Matrix network. Matrix network is just a group of these space virtual machines all connected to each other. The short version for that is SVM. The space virtual machines are virtual machines that provide the compute resources and the memory to run these programs. So again, we call this an SVM for short, and these are where your programs will run. If you have adjacent lands, you can actually combine your SVMs on those lands to create more powerful applications. The size of the land will determine the amount of resources that you have to work with. The resources that these SVMs have will be used to run spaces. A space is a group of objects. It is essentially your application. When we look at the matrix objects, we can break them into scene objects and entities. The scene object is a top-level object. The entity objects are the children objects. All of them together are matrix objects. So as you can see, this is going to be object-oriented programming. And going one step down, we have the NFTs. You will be able to import your NFTs. We also want to empower you to be able to create NFTs in Matrix World. And each NFT that is imported in Matrix World will also become a Matrix object. This means you will be able to program that NFT to have some sort of functionality or to be interactive. Okay, now we'll move on to the next diagram. We see we have a matrix object here. They have their functions, right? Their interactivity, physics, mesh, texture, transformation, media attachments, any of these things that go with the object. And it is managed, that lifecycle, by the SVM. It also takes in events from the event publisher or from the interaction client, and it puts all of this stuff out to the content rendering client. That's what you see on the scene. So this is the basic idea behind the objects. And again, each NFT you import will be an object. So you can program these different things. Now, if we go to the next slide, we see the matrix network. A matrix network is just the interconnection of all of these different SVMs. You might have some simple applications, some simple scenes and spaces that run on just a single SVM, but if you have merged LANs, you can actually make very complex applications that combine the resources and memory of multiple interconnected SVMs. So again, zooming back out, now that we've talked about each of those a little bit, you can see the structure, right? We see our space virtual machine and the space that it's running under it. This space consists of its scene object, which contains all of the entity objects beneath it, and all of those together can make the application. So this is another big part of our metaverse, and this is the basis as to how users will be able to build these immersive applications in our metaverse. We think this is very important, and I always go back to this one example. I was having a meeting with one of the Flow projects, and they were telling me about some of the struggles they have being based in Decentraland. Now, if one of these users comes up, they see the project, they like it, they can't actually interact with the project because it's Flow. None of that can happen in World, so the user has to leave the metaverse, go on to the Uniswap website and swap some funds, go on to Blockdo website maybe and create a wallet, then go on to their website, register there, and finally they can interact with their smart contracts or their marketplace, their application. This is just terrible on both ends, honestly. From a creator's standpoint, it just adds a lot of friction to onboarding new users to your product. And then when you look at it from a user standpoint, it just breaks the immersive experience, and it's just not a good experience overall. So by combining this multi-chain connectivity and the ability to create these immersive applications, you can really empower both of them. Imagine instead a user walks into the shop, and they're an ETH user, and they see this really cool project on Flow. What if they could register for Blockdo, swap their funds on a little ATM object that has been programmed to connect to Uniswap, and then interact with this creator's marketplace or application without ever having to leave the world, all in one place? That, we think, is a much better experience for the user, and it will also help the creator so they have access to a larger user base and they can attract more people. It'll break down these barriers. This is kind of the big picture. This is what we're going after. We want to really stop that fragmentation and improve this experience. We also said we want to be creator friendly, so we want to add some convenient automated tooling. We know not everybody is a developer. Sometimes they hear this stuff about the programmable objects, and it's just dizzying to them to even think about. They don't know development, they don't know coding, they don't know modeling, and so they say, what can I do? How can I take advantage of these features? How does it help me? To tackle that, we're going to build some tools like a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, model editor, and a scene editor that will make it easy for people without experience to still develop and build their lands. We want to have some automated templates as well available. So for example, maybe you're a very talented modeler or developer, you can create a template, put it on our marketplace, and then a user could buy that template and it would help them build their land. We also want to make sure there are some low-code tools so users can take advantage of the programmability even if they don't know any programming languages. And all of this will be topped off with that space name server. It's kind of like the DNS domain name server that we have on the internet. We want to make it so users can easily name their space or application so it's easily found. You don't need a contract address or some other string of numbers and letters that's hard to remember. You can just give it an easy name so it's easy to find and navigate to in the world. These are all some things we're trying to do to just make it a better experience for users and creators alike and to make it more accessible to everybody. So some use cases behind this. These are similar to many metaverses here. You have the socializing and networking aspect, right? So creating social clubs, having meetups, having virtual conferences. You also have the trade aspect, right? You can create a virtual shop or marketplace, and you can have these applications that you build, and they're immersive. Games and entertainment, because it's programmable, that means you can make some games on your land if you want. You can also do virtual events, virtual concerts, something like that. There's education and work, which I think is being overlooked quite often nowadays. So you can have a virtual headquarters, offices, meetings. You can have lectures in universities for education, where instead of being done over a Zoom call, it can be a more immersive experience, something a little cooler. And of course, what everybody always wonders about, there will be opportunities to earn, whether it's through the applications people create, things they sell, things they trade, or something like advertising, marketing within the world. So now that you have a good overview of the world, let's look at the team a little bit. Matrix World is made by Matrix Labs. They actually were also the technical team behind Fantabear, which launched in January. Pretty crazy. We still can't believe the success that had. But the Matrix Labs team came together in Vancouver in 2017. It was a group of students and tutors and professors who were all very interested in blockchain tech and saw the potential there. Since then, the team has grown to more than 50 members worldwide. And if we go back to those core members who founded it, they also met Dapper Labs in 2017, right around the time of Cryptokitties in the blockchain ecosystem. This was a big inspiration for the team. They loved the idea behind the NFTs and ERC 721, which was created by Dapper. And it inspired them to jump into gaming. One of the core members made a game called Cell Evolution, which actually won some awards. Then in 2018 is when the Matrix Labs team met the White Matrix team, and they worked together and helped them develop ChainIDE. I think most of you here know about ChainIDE. Really cool piece of tech, right? Browser-based developer environment that is also in the cloud, so it makes it very accessible for users to create blockchain projects. And that's one thing both teams have always been really big on. They want to empower these creators and they want to bring more people into Web3 and blockchain ecosystems. Following that, the team also did a bit of research focused around multi-chain tech and some research focused around the metaverse. So the team has already done multi-chain, right? We've been there. Of course, that was before I was part of the team, but we have the experience with metaverse. We have the experience with multi-chain. We figured it was time to put them together and make a project of our own, and that was the inspiration and the birth of Matrix World. Alongside that, again, we talked about loving to give back. So we've hosted or co-hosted over 100 events similar to this, just to give back to the community and to help bring new people into the space. We'll go over the roadmap really quick here. We've already completed, right, 2021 Q4, the pre-sale. We sold out 5,000 lands, Ethereum, and Flow. Thank you, everybody. If we have any landowners in here, amazing to see the support. Moving into Q1 2022, where we are right now. We've been focusing on building the demo, building the backend, that multi-chain identity system I was talking about earlier. And from a marketing standpoint, we're talking to a lot of projects behind the scenes to try and make new partnerships. As we go forward, in Q2 this year, we're hoping to release the alpha. So this would be late Q2, okay? And it would just be the basic version of Matrix World with some of the core applications, but not all of the tools that we will release in the long run. So you'll have like the Space Virtual Machine SDK and API and some closed beta testing for that part of the game as well. Q3, it'll be more back-end work, right? Working on those convenient tools we were talking about, right? The builder and developer APIs and SDKs, trying to make these different WYSIWYG editors, for instance. And Q4, we hope to bring those into the game for the beta, so people will be able to experience the world with the object and scene editor, the low-code creation tools. And again, we'll continue trying to ramp up partnerships here. And going into 2023, that's when we hope to get the full functioning world live. So it's a very ambitious roadmap. Any of you familiar with game development know how much work and how much time does go into this. So what are we doing now, right? Some of you have seen this short-term roadmap. We're just about done with it. In the past couple months, we added the Blockdo support. We added Rarible, a few other marketplaces. We've updated the map, added land transfers, added user profiles. We've added the ability to put 3D images on the map page for larger lands and images for the smaller lands. And now we're really focusing on these demo spaces and demo avatars. We've shown a glimpse of the Flow headquarters and our progress there. We also have another space we're working on. It's an Ethereum public space, big 10 by 10. This space will feature the Ethereum Museum and some other buildings. So this is our current focus, working on that identity system and building out these demos. Right now, we're working on a lot of back-end stuff in the demo. That's why we haven't had a video update in the past couple of weeks. Nothing to show on the front-end side of things. That's all I have for the project itself. I think I'll spend some time now to go over a few of the common questions we get about it. First, let's touch on multi-chain versus cross-chain. These are a little bit different. When we say multi-chain, we're talking about the ability to be able to connect to different networks, but cross-chain is actually taking something from one network and putting it onto another network, right? When you're bridging between those networks. So we're focusing on multi-chain. We might try to tackle cross-chain at some point in the future, but we'll start with multi-chain. There are a lot of issues, security and otherwise, that come with bridging and cross-chain. Next, some people ask, if I have Flow, if I have ETH, are they separate worlds? Can an ETH user interact with the Flow lands? It's all one world. That's the whole point of this multi-chain. When you're in the world, we don't want you to know or care whether you're on ETH or Flow land. It should just be one immersive experience, and everything that needs to get settled in the back end will get taken care of without you having to worry about it. On top of that, we get a lot of questions about a token. No, we don't have a token. No, we're not against tokens. We just feel that if we do a token, it should be done very strategically. We want to make sure it is something that is well thought out, something that is added for utility, not just as some speculative pump and dump coin. And any of you who have projects, I urge you to take the same mindset. Be considerate of these things. Don't just make a token because people want a token, but be strategic about it, right? Why do we need a token? Why should we have a token? What is the utility behind it? And this is what can help you create something that is valuable instead of something that'll pump and then crash and leave a lot of bag holders. Tokenomics is a very complicated and deep subject, so we won't get into it here. I think those are the main questions we get about it. If you have any other questions, please feel free to visit us in our Discord. I would love for you to stop by and say hey. And if I could leave you with one thing from today's talk, I would say the mindset. As a creator, the mindset is really, really important. Sometimes you can get, lost in the weeds. You're so focused on the details that you lose the big picture. So remember, every now and then, it's good to take a step back, to think, where does this fit in the big picture? What is the purpose of this? Asking questions like, well, what is the ideal metaverse? Like, why are they all single chain right now? Why don't we make a multi-chain one? Asking these questions, looking at the big picture and taking that step back, I think can be very helpful when you're creating your projects. You can question why some things are the current way. Like, why do we do it this way? Why don't we do that way? Why haven't we done this yet? And that's how you can come across some interesting and innovative ideas for your projects that can really help take them to the next level, help progress the technology, and help move the whole space forward. Thank you all again for your time today. I really hope you enjoyed this talk I gave, this presentation. And I just want to say thank you all for being a part of this community and this ecosystem and for contributing to its growth and its advancement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kyle, for introducing the Turing complete multi-chain having a lot of use cases, Metaverse, the Matrix world, and I would like to thank to all the today's speakers, Mr. Usha, Professor Sai, and Mr. Kyle, for joining us and giving a wonderful speech. And I hope all the audience enjoyed it much. And for next week sessions, uh, so we have a lecture tomorrow, February 20th at 6 p.m. PST. It would be about blockchain security, and we have invited some great speakers from some good universities, and hope there will be very informative sessions. And see you tomorrow. Thanks for being with us today. Thanks.